Here at Michigan Family Wellness, we believe chiropractic care and nutritional-based therapies are a foundational part of a healthy family lifestyle. No matter where you're at in the mitten, having a family is such an exciting time of life. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by stress, fatigue, and responsibilities with the kids, we invite you to become part of this empowering community to create happy, healthy families. By providing engaging interviews and practical applications, Dr. Wallner cultivates family health by equipping our listeners with the tools they need to elevate wellness in their own family. Dr. Wallner passionately serves the Michigan community at his chiropractic and nutrition-based practice, where he specializes in pregnancy, pediatrics, and family wellness care. And now, here's your host, Dr. Kyle Wallner.
Good day, families, and welcome home. That's right, my name is Dr. Kyle, and this is the Empowering MFW family, and we are so glad to be with you today. If you are joining us for the first time, I want to thank you for tuning in. The health of you and your family is your number one priority. It is your greatest asset. The best way to have a healthy family is by living a family wellness lifestyle. So, if you're looking for efficient, effective, and sustainable ways to elevate your health and the health of your family, then I strongly recommend you make yourself comfortable because we have an amazing show for you today. And before we get to today's episode, let me say a few words as I do every week about Power Performance Gym. Power Performance Gym is dedicated to helping you achieve your best definition of healthy and strong. Power Performance specializes in strength and conditioning for individuals, small groups, and athletic teams, weight and pain management, as well as recovery and nutrition. Everyone at Power experiences a full movement and health analysis to build your blueprint for success, targeting your goals. Mention the Michigan Family Wellness Podcast to receive your movement and health analysis as a complimentary gift. Learn more about how Power Performance can help you move, look, and feel better by visiting powergym.com. That's POWRGYM.com. Melissa Wood is a certified health and wellness coach guiding you to live a healthier, happier life. Working as a health and wellness coach has given Melissa the incomparable experience of discovering her truth through helping others reveal their truest selves. Her devotion to practicing plant-based nutrition and mindful meditation allows Melissa to help people achieve life-altering shifts. Melissa is passionate about creating a comfortable space to let go of negative self-talk and, in turn, open up to positive new ways of being. Her work explores plant-based nutrition, integrating movement in daily life, and practicing self-compassion to accomplish personal growth. All right, families, let's jump into today's interview. Welcome, families. I'm honored to be joined on the show today by Melissa Wood. Welcome to the podcast, Melissa. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Well, Melissa, I'm really looking forward to jumping into our discussion today on how you help women, mothers, and families elevate their health and family wellness lifestyle, especially as it relates to wellness during and after pregnancy. But before we get there, we have two questions we always ask every guest. So help our listeners and myself get to know you more by telling us what family looks like for you.
Family for me is really just going for a walk with my husband and my son, Benjamin, who's 20 months, going to the park, spending quality time together, getting in the kitchen, making breakfast, making a green juice, and just that's what it's all about. It's just doing, the little things that really make up the most of everything.
Just listening to you say that already makes me feel relaxed. We talk about on the podcast how life can be just so stressful, and I love those little things that you guys do just to help mitigate that stress. So another thing we say here, Melissa, on the Family Wellness Podcast is that we are smitten with the mitten. So have you ever experienced the Great Lakes or anything that let's see if I can do it here, the mitten has to offer?
That's really funny. I've never heard that. No, I like it though. I'm into it.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to have you anytime. There's tons of things you can do with the Great Lakes and just the natural beauty of the state of Michigan. So warm welcome if you're ever able to join us over here. But all right, Melissa, let's go ahead and get more in depth because I really want the women, mothers, and families listening to benefit from your experiences, your expertise, and your unique perspective. One thing you talk about a lot is how becoming a mother has been the most humbling and enlightening experience of your life. And oftentimes what I find makes these conversations that we're having right now so relevant and powerful is just briefly getting a better understanding of your story.
Yes, I'd love to. So, I feel as if before having my son and becoming a mother, I was a little uptight, if you will. And I think I was always striving for perfection in a way that it was so unattainable. And after having my son and going through the experience of pregnancy and giving birth, which, I'm very used to controlling everything in my life and trying to make everything move the way that I want to move it. And I learned very quickly that that's not the way this is going to work. And, I wanted a natural birth. I ended up with a C-section. So it easily could have sent me into a tailspin, but I really looked at that as really an awakening moment of just like giving over and letting go of this sense of just trying to control everything. And it really humbled me. It humbled me a lot. It helped me become less judgmental towards other people's decisions. And I think, you think you know everything until as an aunt or a friend and then when you actually go through the experience yourself, you're like, oh, okay. Everyone's doing the best that they can with what they have. And it helped bring everything in for me.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And, just what you were saying about, wanting a natural birth, but, having a C-section. I mean, I talk with women and that really is okay. It's really good that we do have those interventions in place. Yes, we advocate for natural births and, everything as organic as possible and all of that. But again, you do have to realize, there's a reason why we have those emergency interventions in place, for situations like that to protect mom and baby. So I just wanted to highlight that little thing there. And then do you talk with a lot of women, just kind of going off a sidetrack here in terms of their identity, in terms of, okay, it didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to. Yes. Do you talk with women who are like, man, that's really playing with my mindset and my emotional state right now? Or how does that look?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Like I went in with this idea of what I thought it was going to be. And then actually going through the experience and having it be the absolute last thing that I ever wanted to happen to me. I really look at opportunities like that for like, it's a lesson to learn from. I think you get what you need. And sometimes that's really hard to swallow because every opportunity is there to teach us something a little deeper about ourselves and the way that we handle things. And, like I said, it really brought me back into myself. And, I speak a lot about meditation and I believe very strongly in it because that's the tool that really helped me become less reactive towards things that normally would have, had me angry, stressed out, anxious, being awful to other people. And it helped me ground myself within my own highest power, which I think, I really tried to meditate as much as I could when I was pregnant, but after, and, you think it's the most impossible thing to do when you have a baby, but you find those moments because you realize that's what has really helped me move through every challenge with ease.
Mm-hmm. Were you doing anything to prepare for your pregnancy in terms of any sort of fertility tips or, you talk about meditation and some of those things. Has becoming a mother or when you found out you were pregnant, did that make you all of a sudden more mindful of your health? Was there any kind of a shift in that cognitive state?
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny, it also helped me back off a little bit of being so, particular with everything that I do. And, if you follow me on Instagram or on, with my way of working, some people may think particular, you're so particular now, but I have a different intention now. Before it was coming from a place of control, trying not to gain too much weight. And then, you get to a place where it's okay, this is happening. There's nothing I can do. And, my best advice to women who are pregnant or, who want to get pregnant is just take the the best care of yourself. Like you know what feels good. And, there's all of these things out in the, that things you should do, things you shouldn't do. And I really just listened to my inner guide, my intuition to like, I'm vegan.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I started really craving eggs and things. And so instead of feeling guilty for not having a vegan pregnancy, I just allowed myself the space to do what felt good during that time. It's such a sensitive time. And I think women need to be extra kind and gentle with themselves during this process, because it's so hard on your body alone just to be pregnant, let alone beating yourself up for if you're gaining too much weight. And I think just and once again, I'll probably bring this back to meditation several times, because that was the grounding tool for myself, is when I was you feel so it's like an out of body experience. You're like, what's happening? I've gained all this weight. It's so crazy. It just happens very quickly. And just bringing it in to really just learn to love and accept yourself in that moment, instead of being like, oh, I can't wait to lose this weight. I can't wait to do that. Because there's no guarantee that when you do this or lose all that weight that you're going to be happy anyways. And I think that's the biggest thing that I work with in my sessions, is learning to love yourself right now as you are, whether you strive to lose 30 pounds or 75 pounds. It doesn't matter. You need to love all of that now, because there's no telling that once that happens, you're just miraculously going to love yourself.
In our culture with social media, with everything that we're bombarded with, there's oftentimes this pattern of just what you were saying, people struggle with being present. People struggle with being patient, loving themselves. And I think having a coach like yourself is such a great thing to help people just really learn those basics, those fundamentals of, even in a non-pregnancy context, even just for the individual, but especially for pregnancy, just to be mindful, to be present, and to, accept where you're at and everything around you, and then to have some goals, absolutely, and to work in progression to meet those. But yeah, couldn't agree more with everything that you're saying. Now, I do want to ask you about, because I believe I was reading one of your blog posts, did chiropractic care play any sort of role in this season of life?
Oh, absolutely. I love Dr. Keith Pine in New York. He owns an amazing facility. He sees a lot of athletes. And I slipped a disc years before I was pregnant. So my L4 and my L5. And I would get this pinching sensation, which I'm sure you hear a lot about. And when I became pregnant, it was intensified. It was like carrying so much weight in the front. And I did work out while I was pregnant. I did Pilates and I did my workouts that I share on my Fitner app. But it was overwhelming. So I probably saw Dr. Pine at least once a month or every couple of months, just to, to get me to a place where I was working with prevention instead of trying to, cure an injury or fix an injury. So it really helped seeing him to take that pinching sensation out.
Yeah. And then especially, as your son was growing kind of, in your belly and that low back area, that extra just weight on the lumbar spine, chiropractic can do just so much for, just helping to relieve the nervous system interference, to relieve the structural misalignments, so that you don't have to have a 48-hour, 72-hour long labor, painful pregnancy. That's just the whole idea there.
Oh, yeah. And after actually, because I ended up getting an epidural, and that I really felt that after. I know I've heard a lot of women say it really affected me though. Like I could feel it in my workouts, or if I picked Benjamin up a certain way. Yeah. And then going to see Dr. Pine after also helped, it realigned me and get me to a place of strength where I didn't get injured in my workouts or even just picking him up. So So
Gotcha. And then congratulations again, too, with Benjamin, your son, and everything that you've been through. I just know that you're a huge inspiration with so many women out there.
Thank you so much.
Melissa, there is one thing I do want to outline for our listeners, and I've actually mentioned this before on the Family Wellness Lifestyle podcast, but this is from the American Pregnancy Association. So this is not Dr. Kyle. This is from a third party, but it's so great. I wanted to tell everyone about it.
Okay.
So this specifically answers the question, how does chiropractic care benefit women with fertility issues? And they go on to say, your body is an amazing creation that can accomplish numerous miraculous tasks, including creating new life. These miraculous tasks are accomplished under the direction of the nervous system. The nervous system is the master communication system of the entire body. Chiropractic care is a safe and natural approach to enhancing the body's ability to function properly. This is accomplished through enhancing the function of, there it is again, the central nervous system. In many cases, fertility issues may be associated with improper nervous system function, poor nutrition, high stress, poor lifestyle habits. I'm sure you see that all the time.
Yeah.
Chiropractors are nervous system specialists, and reducing interference in the nervous system is their primary goal. Keeping the spine properly aligned, clearing the nervous system of excessive interference, and counseling patients in nutrition, exercise, and changes to lifestyle make the chiropractor one of your best options to help your body function in harmony with the way it was designed. So I know that was a little long-winded, but I just have this passion. I just have this fervor for helping women specifically in this stage of life with pregnancy, a lot of postpartum care. In terms of postpartum, in terms of, being with your son now and kind of raising him, what does that look like in terms of, healthy eating and staying fit and all of those good lifestyle things?
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that piece. I love that. I couldn't agree more.
Awesome.
I couldn't agree more. So, for me, it's allowing him to see how easy all of this is. So I bring him in the room when I'm working out. I bring him in the kitchen right next to me when I'm making a green juice or cutting fruit or making brown rice pasta with vegetables. I love for him to see what I'm doing, even when he was just a tiny little thing and couldn't speak, maybe didn't know what was going on, or does, who knows? I mean, I feel like they do know.
Right. And
just making it a part of our life so that it's not something that seems so out of reach. And even for, I have a lot of women or families who maybe aren't so healthy now and they're looking to become healthier as their kids are older. And I think the time is now, slowly incorporating little things or making it really fun. So I'll have him, hand me things as I put them in the blender, hand me things as I put them in the juicer. And whenever he hears me say I'm going to make a juice, it's like he runs for it. He gets just excited as I do.
Right.
So I think having fun with it and taking the weight off yourself of like, oh, this is so hard. This is, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Because how you think the situation is going to be is exactly how it's going to be. So if you perceive things as difficult, that's exactly the energy you're giving off to your children. So I try to keep things really light and fun and just really be a demonstration of how it can all happen. Listen, I don't get workouts in like I used to. I don't work out as long as I used to, but something. And I think that incorporating with my diet and my self-care practice, it all comes out great on the other end. So don't be afraid. Like, bring your kids in the room with you. Show them how to do some stuff. Make it really fun.
I love what you're saying there. I mean, even when a mom and dad bring their kids in for their adjustments, it's like they're in the room with them. I actually have these Chiro clicker toys that these, little activator toys that just click around, and
that's cute.
Just involving the kids, seeing them observe their parents or observe yourself, do something, really ingrains that wellness lifestyle. And I can't agree more with what you're saying there. This is actually a great segue into another question on body dysmorphic disorder. And I know you have a background with modeling as well. But we examined how women are getting the definition of beauty, from our culture, especially here in Western America. And we're going to drop a link in the show notes to that episode. But my question is, well, maybe two questions. Has your concept of beauty changed from when you were, just modeling to now being a mom? And do you have any fun tips, or things that you do to help, get in shape both during pregnancy or after pregnancy? You look great, by the way, for having a son. So awesome.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, God, has my definition of beauty changed 1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
I was, I moved here from such a small town and moving to New York where everyone is just so stunning and trying to get into the modeling world. It was like, it all felt so unattainable.
Right.
It was out of my reach because I wasn't a size 2 or a size 0 and I was a curvier girl. And, that also led to a laundry list of issues for myself. I had an eating disorder for years that I never told anyone about. It was like my hidden secret. I had horrible cystic acne from really, I believe my acne was caused by not feeling enough. So living my life that way caused this. That was how it affected me. Some people gain weight or lose their hair. And I think that there's, it affects everyone differently. But I had no choice but to tune in. I had to stop looking outward for all of this like peace within myself. And I had to turn in or I was going to be a disaster. And, I used to walk into, I still model. It's not my full-time job, but I do some things here and there and I do enjoy it. And now that I have a great relationship to myself, but I used to walk into a room and just think, beautiful was the tiny skinny girls, right. That was my association to beauty. And now there are people who are the most beautiful beings on the inside and are so kind-hearted and just have a beautiful soul and do great things in this world. Even just, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're just being kind to your doorman or the taxi driver or the guy at the coffee shop, whatever it is, that's beautiful to me.
Yeah.
That's what makes a beautiful person, is someone who is beautiful to themselves first and mostly, and then beautiful to everyone around them.
It might sound cliche, but the inner beauty is definitely what at least I value more. Than the out. Rachel, my wife, that's something that definitely, along with her physical beauty, but definitely, the way she treated people, her character, that's really what attracted me to her, in terms of our marriage and our relationship. So definitely want to underscore everything you're saying there.
Yeah.
And in terms of fitness, in terms of exercise, what can the women and mothers and families listening do?
Yeah. So when I was pregnant, that's when I really started getting into, so I've been working out since I was 15. That was the first thing I ever bought myself, was a gym membership. I've always been into, it was more of an escape. I have 4 sisters, a brother. It was like I needed to get out. So I use that as a tool to, take my mind elsewhere. And when I was pregnant is when I really connected to my body differently, because I was very in tune with if my lower back started to hurt and just being really easy on myself. So that's like a reoccurring kind of thread that you'll notice within my workouts is I do things that you get results from without a ton of intensity on the body. Gotcha. So not hurting your joints and I'm not saying there's anything wrong if you choose a high intensity workout, but just really pay attention to how you feel before you go in. Are you anxious before workouts? Does that, high intensity class make you a little crazy? And then how do you feel after? Are you anxious after? And just really tuning in. So I highly recommend, if you don't do yoga regularly, going to a beginner yoga class or hiring a yoga instructor to come to your home and teach you. There's all sorts of rates. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. You can go to prenatal classes and then Pilates. Pilates really helped me engage, in my core, even with being pregnant. I was doing core exercises and things that nothing with a high intensity, but just, small controlled movements. I think that's also what helped me bounce back quickly, is because I kept it part of my practice, even during the pregnancy. And just being like, if there was a day I didn't want to work out, I didn't work out.
Right.
Not hard on yourself. I think it's time to really tune in and be super kind, gentle, and loving to yourself.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, definitely movement, motion, the yoga. I've heard tons of people say just, the Pilates, the yoga are some of the best things that you can do, especially for that pregnancy season. Now, Melissa, as we start to round up here, let's say there's a woman listening today who is just stressed out of her mind, and maybe she has a few kids and juggling with work-family balance, or perhaps she's thinking about starting a family, but she doesn't want to rely on over-the-counter drugs, pharmaceutical medications, and the standard medical model of cut, burn, or poison, just so that she can spend more time with her family, sleep better, cultivate good health for years to come. What would be your words of wisdom for her?
Oh, I feel like I know so many of those women. So most importantly, I would say take a look at, the most important things. So how are you waking up in the morning? Is the first thing you're doing, are you grabbing for your phone? Are you scrolling through Instagram? I know that these sound crazy, but all of those things really affect how we move about our day. And with children, I'd love to say wake up and meditate in the morning. That's not possible when you have kids. You have to take care of your family, whether that you have to drop them off at school or wait until they nap. Give yourself a moment. Create a practice that works for you to bring some stillness into your life, because that's where I got that's where I continue to get all of my answers, and how I shifted my life from living in such chaos and dysfunction to a place of peace within chaos. It's not like that all just dissipates. There's always going to be stress and things. You respond to it differently. So even if it's in your car, I have women that I work with, and we do a 5-minute meditation, closing your eyes, really connecting with your breath. And it doesn't have to be 20 minutes. It's doing what you can with what's going on in your life, and being disciplined with that. So really making that a part of your everyday is your 5 minutes of stillness, and then 5 minutes you're thriving and you're feeling amazing. Giving yourself 8 minutes, going 8 minutes for 2 weeks, and doing what you can, and feeding yourself with nourishing, amazing food. And it have to not taste good. And people think like, oh, it's like you're vegan, you're plant-based. It's I eat the most delicious food. And when you eat it, just saying to yourself, like, this is exactly what my body needs. My body needs this. Not holding on to the guilt of like, why did I eat that? Those are the things that create more stress in the body.
Exactly.
And if you can't get out of the house to work out, there are so many things you can do inside with kids. Once again, get them involved, even if it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes makes a huge difference in your mood, your day, everything, your body. And I think and really being honest with yourself about why your life is the way it is. So are you spending 35 minutes at night scrolling through Instagram right before you go to bed, and then it activates the stress response? Whether you believe it or not, you start to compare your life to others. I think Instagram is such an amazing tool, and social media, I love how there are negative attachments to it. So just really turning on your consciousness and being simple about everything you're doing. And, and paying very close attention to what lights you up and what brings you real joy. I didn't even know what that was years ago. I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, okay. I worked with a coach myself. I had an assignment of writing down that every time I did something that I felt really good about. And that's how I moved into the place. I mean, I was working with a health and wellness coach before I knew what one was.
There you go. Yeah.
I wasn't working with her thinking I ever wanted to be one. But the more that I became in touch with myself, the more answers, they really come to you. There's a power greater than us. And if you connect with that, it opens up a whole new life.
Absolutely, Melissa. Well, I really encourage everyone listening to just hit their 30-second back button or just rewind over those past few minutes, because Melissa just dropped a ton of wisdom and insight that I think if anyone were to apply and to follow and to, start doing in their life, they would see immediate changes right away. So tell us more about what the coaching looks like and let us know about that.
Yeah, so I practice in New York. I work over the phone. I actually just introduced a women's group coaching, which I'm going to be focusing more on, not so much one-on-one sessions, just because I'm trying to reach as many people as I can in as much time as I can. And it's definitely helpful on my end to get as many people as I can to work with at once. And you can find me on Instagram. That's probably the one place that I tune in a lot to. Lots of Insta stories over here sharing all about what I eat, my workouts, which you can also get my workouts on the Fitner app.
Okay.
And yeah, I share a lot of those, slow controlled movements, really connecting with the mind, body, and not killing yourself, but getting amazing results. Long and lean.
Fantastic. Well, Melissa, thank you so much. You're an inspiration for so many women listening today. Thank you for bringing tremendous value to the platform and becoming part of the MFW family.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Kyle. This was really my pleasure.
Thanks again. All right, families, what'd you think? We'd love to get your feedback. If you would like to email me about anything you've heard on this or any previous edition of the Family Wellness Lifestyle Podcast, you may do so by writing Dr. Kyle at MichiganFamilyWellness.com and take full advantage of the Family Lifestyle audio library at MichiganFamilyWellness.com. Connect with us on social media at Michigan Family Wellness. Thanks so much for tuning in, families. Have an awesome week, and remember, we can do far more together than we could ever do apart.
Now that you've been equipped with the latest in family wellness solutions, we want to encourage you to apply these strategies right away. But the thing is, there's still so much to learn. Connect with Dr. Wallner's Chiropractic and Nutrition Office by going to MichiganFamilyWellness.com and click the newsletter sign-up button to join the informative and supportive community of chiropractic wellness. You will also receive as a gift from Dr. Wallner a copy of Michigan Family Wellness Solutions, an invaluable resource containing dynamic tools to elevate family health and vitality. Michigan Family Wellness wants to thank you for being part of today's podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and review.